Hey everybody, this is
Awesome.
Lawrence from the Atheist Community in Milwaukee, and today I have a special guest, Godless Engineer. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Just I'm just got the son in bed, and now I'm just kind of hanging out doing activist stuff.
Yeah, that's the life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did want to talk to you a little bit about the Mythinformation conference coming up. Uh, I know that you're going to be streaming it live, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, yeah. And I'm not going to be streaming the talks live. I don't think, although I hadn't thought if they wanted me to, I would more than happy do that. But Uh, yeah, I'll be streaming live from it. I'll try to get the speakers on camera if they have time, as well as talk to people that are actually at the conference, and probably throw in my own little bits of information here and there. I do also have plans to play some music. I know a few musicians, and they're gonna let me play their stuff, and so gonna do that, and also maybe play some of the speakers like videos during that time, during the dead air time.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna be streaming live from it, and I can't wait to meet everybody.
All right, yeah, that'll be great. What else did I have? Uh, have they told you about the next one that we have coming up afterwards?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, we have one. I think it's in July. I'm pretty sure it's in July. We don't have details on it yet because we're not even done with this one. But there is one that is coming up, and in that one, um, I think all of the separate, or I think some of the separate groups like that are setting up the convention are going to be speaking, or like the leaders or the heads or the founders, whatever you want to call them. And I think that will be pretty cool to hear what every group around the area, or even I think we're having some groups from the Middle East coming to that one to talk about ISIS and that whole spiel going over there.
Okay,
So
yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I know that a couple of the members from Mythicist Milwaukee took a trip out to Egypt some time ago, so it doesn't surprise me that they got some people from out there to talk. But that's going to be really interesting to hear.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Like they're theists, but you don't really have to be a theist to go to a conference like that. Uh, but it's definitely great to hear people talking about this that aren't just like the president or some Republican. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hadn't really heard of James Kirkwall before this conference, but of course Hammett and Richard Carrier I had heard of. But I've
Right.
gotten to know James a little bit since knowing that I was going to be going to the conference, and he is just the best guy that I know. One of the best guys that I know.
Yeah, I watched
Uh,
I watched your interview video with him. It was pretty interesting actually. I didn't know much about him either.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of those interviews, is to allow people to get to know the speakers, whatnot. I'm actually doing that for the American Atheist Conference as well. I have a few interviews of some of the speakers, including David Silverman. He came on, he talked about it and talked about a few important points surrounding the conference. And so my goal with those interviews, as well as this one here and the ones on my channel, are just to let people get to know, who's going to be speaking and whatnot, so that they can really come into it a little bit better off than just coming there and not really knowing what's going to be talked about or whatnot. They have some pretty good preconceptions, I guess, that are going to more fit the talk.
Right, like you don't really want to go to a talk where you don't know what it's even about really, or who's giving it.
Yeah, and while the titles are pretty descriptive, I know that there have been multiple times when I've read something not really known what it's talking about. So having a bit deeper discussion about it is always good, and it's something that if it's done well beforehand, people have a chance to really watch it and know what to expect.
Right, I completely agree. Uh, so what do you plan on doing like in the future? Do you plan to have any of your own events, or do you plan on doing any talks in the future?
Well, I don't have any plans just yet. Although, if I was asked to talk somewhere, I would be really nervous about it.
Right.
Normally when I do videos or whatnot, or interviews like this, I have a little bit of time to prepare, and it's I guess it's more scripted, but it's also not in front of like an actual audience.
Right.
It's in front of the camera, or you just can't simply see the audience because it's just live views. You see numbers going up and down on YouTube. And so it would be really nervous, but I mean, I would definitely do my best to provide the best talk that I could on whatever subject they wanted me to talk on. Granted, I'm not really trained in any kind of theological field or anything. I'm a software engineer. I have a master's degree in software engineering and a bachelor's degree in computer engineering. So, I could talk about certain subjects, but it's not like I'm going to be any kind of expert or whatnot. Not like these other guys that usually talk. But I don't have any plans for any of that. But that doesn't mean that it won't happen at some point in the future. I would really like my I would really like my quote unquote organization to kind of grow to the point where we have, where we have conferences or we have meetups or something like that. I'd really love for it to grow to be that big. And I'm kind of taking steps right now in order to do it. One of my admins in my group on Facebook has actually set up a few 501(c)(3)s in the past, and so I'm kind of talking closely with him about possibly turning it into a 501(c) charitable organization, so that we can do a lot more organized help instead of just online help. Because we do a lot of stuff online on Facebook and whatnot. Because we've got about a 10,000 member group. It's just under 10,000, and we've got a lot of subgroups that are attached, and a number of them are for basically providing a safe space, a lot more safer, I guess, and places where they can vent their frustrations and whatnot, and really seek some positive reinforcement in their lives, because either they're suffering from depression, or they get some other issues that they need to work through. We have kind of a recovery group type deal, and so. Um, we're really trying to reach out, and we're trying to grow our influence, and really just try to provide some needed services to the community. Because I mean, we really are a growing community, and we're just getting larger and larger by the year. And so, like for instance, with the recovery type group, I'm planning on going through some training to actually be like a recovery, not really a therapist or anything, but like one of the people that leads one of the recovery groups or whatnot. I'm going to go through that training, get certified for it. That way, I can do that as well. And
like a kind of like how schools have grief counselors.
Well, not really grief counselors.
Well, yeah, not exactly grief counselor, but.
Well, yeah, but it's more like for like a secular replacement for Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous,
right.
Like those various anonymous groups. And that's what that's about. Although whenever we do have people that are suffering from severe grief, we normally point them to Grief Beyond Belief. They have a private group on Facebook, and if people are in need of that kind of help, if they're really needing some serious, I guess, more professional help, we usually send them their direction.
Right.
Yeah, so I do have plans to grow it a little bit as an organization, and then on the YouTube front, I just plan on to keep doing videos. I'm going to be starting up my Did Jesus Exist series again. I kind of put it on hold so I could get some episodes written and recorded and edited so that I could keep up a good schedule for it, and then the conferences kind of came up. And so now I'm kind of I've written about half the scripts for the Did Jesus Exist, and that I want to get done before I start recording and putting them out, and so there's that. And then I've also got logical fallacies that I'm doing, and then I'm trying this new series called A Minute in Atheism, where I just basically rant on one subject for about a minute or a minute and a half. And so I've got a lot of things going on my channel. I'm going to be working with Creationist Cat soon.
Awesome. Love
Within,
Creationist Cat.
huh?
I said awesome. I love Creationist Cat.
Yeah, it was totally like out of the blue too, because we follow each other on Twitter, and he had tweeted to Thunderfoot. Asking him, why haven't you returned my request to work with me? And I was like, I think he's more of a dog person. And the Creationist Cat came back with, well, it's been scientifically proven that dogs drool and cats rule. and and so it's like I took that off the show. I was like, hey, by the way, would you like to do an interview? And so I'm gonna be interviewing Creationist Cat, and that'll be on actually the Secular TV channel, because I'm actually helping them out with leading that channel up, and then let's see, Creationist Cat. This week, actually, my live interview is going to be Ryan Bell. I don't know if you know about Ryan Bell, but he's the pastor preacher that went a year without God. Basically, he lived, without his faith, I guess, as best he could for a year, and he ended up coming out on the other side as an atheist.
Yeah, I think I saw a preview for that somewhere. Wasn't there like was that a movie or documentary or something? I saw a preview.
I think they're turning it into a documentary.
Okay, yeah, because I thought I saw a preview somewhere. Yeah, it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say he was recently on the Atheist Experience, and I know I posted that to the page. He did a pretty good job there as well. So I've got him coming up. Hopefully in the future, I'll have some other bigger names on there. It just really depends on who deems me important enough to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, like compared to like my group, like on the Facebook page we have like 100 some followers, and on the YouTube page we have not even 20 subscribers. So it's a slow start, but we're slowly getting there. So I just want to reach out to the YouTube atheist community because a while ago, a few years ago actually, I had an account, the Russian Atheist, and I had like 1,000 some subscribers on that account. It's back when do you remember Cosmic Zen back in the day?
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, he also went by the Aist later.
Okay.
Yeah, he so I had a after okay, my account, the Russian Atheist, was Christian bots, false flag campaigns, all that good shit. So that account was taken down. And later I opened up the page, the Russian Nihilist, and that one is still up. It had like 400 something subscribers, but I kind of fell out of the YouTube thing and forgot my password. So yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah, but on that channel, like I had like not really interviews, but discussions with Cosmic Zen, with Insane Bastard, Count Hector, like some other like back in the day big YouTube names. And so it was really sad that I lost that channel, but I am back in on this, and I will not be forgetting my password anytime soon.
Yeah, that means that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, no, no. It's a little less complicated than that. There was one last thing I wanted to ask you as far as questions go. Uh, how uh, how did you become an atheist? Were you raised religious, and then later decided that it was all bullshit, or were you raised without a religion really?
Well, I was definitely raised Christian. I was Catholic starting out, and after my mom and dad divorced, we stayed Catholic for a little bit, and then after that, we went to basically no church, and then I was kind of non-denominational slash Baptist kind of deal, and I was really trying to get back into going to church because I was really trying hard to be the good Christian boy because I'm down here, I'm in North Alabama. There's I mean, if you're not a good Christian boy, then you're bad,
Right.
basically.
You're the devil's love child.
Exactly. And so I was really trying to be the good Christian boy. I was trying to get back into church and whatnot. So I was going to this non-denominational church, and I had friends in church and everything. And then I kind of fell out. I stopped going. I stopped caring because, I mean, I didn't care. I still believed in God. I was still a theist. I still considered myself Christian. I still believed in all that crap. I just didn't go to church. And then, some years went by, and then I tried one more time to really get right with God, and that failed. The last few times I was seriously in church, I know my friends were like, "Why do you even come? You just fall asleep." um, and so at some point, I was playing softball with one of my friend's church leagues, right? I didn't go to their church or anything like that, but they were my friends, so I wanted to play softball with my friends.
Right.
And so one night after a softball game, one of my friends basically threw a no true Scotsman fallacy at me, saying, "Well, look, if you don't believe the entire Bible is the inerrant word of God, then you're just not Christian." I was like, "Okay, well then I guess I'm not Christian." So that aspect of it was very light switchy for me. Like it just, okay, I'm not Christian, and so I didn't really know what to call myself. I wasn't ready to call myself an atheist yet. Just because of the negative connotation that kind of came with atheist. I didn't know what I believed. I wouldn't say that I was agnostic because I would say that I still believed in a God. I was in that phase of trying to reconcile God with the universe, with how nature works and everything like that. But I have a very naturally curious mind. I love learning things. I love getting out there and really seeing how things work and being able to do things myself. And so, when I started really questioning these things and when I started looking into the background of stuff and really started getting more into, like, every bit of science, I just eventually had to come to the conclusion and be like, okay, look, I'm an atheist. I don't believe God exists. And when I did that, I just felt a lot better about myself because up until that point I had this real, I guess, innate feeling that I was just I was broken, and I needed to repent every single day, and every time I looked at a girl's ass, I had to go home and pray and repent, and I can't tell you the number of times I purged my porn directory. And so, it just felt like this huge weight coming off of me. And, of course, just like every Christian thinks, I immediately went out and started killing people with guns and shit.
Yeah, you're just an atheist because you want to sin.
Yeah, exactly. And of course that didn't happen. But as soon as I did that, I started looking at the world very differently, and I started reacting differently. And I didn't really pronounce my atheism or anything like that. I just started disagreeing a whole lot more with my friends, and it eventually got to the point where I pretty much severed ties with all of my friends around here, just because we just grew apart in a relatively small amount of time. And so, after leaving all of that behind, and that's when I kind of came and found community on Facebook. I didn't really have anybody to talk to or anything like that, so I found Facebook, and that actually happened before I shed my friends. Me actually getting more involved in Facebook, but it's kind of like after I shed my friends, I just it's just kind of like I found better friends
Right.
online,
Yeah.
basically.
All right. Well, that's really great that now you're doing this. There are some things you just kind of not necessarily have to give up, but you just kind of end up having to give them up because either they don't really like what they call the new you, or possibly the new you. I don't know. Um, However you want to say it. But yeah, either way, like I mean, I've had a lot of religious friends throughout my life, and some of them are okay with me being an atheist. Some of them weren't. So you kind of have to pick either your own happiness or theirs in a way. And I mean, I may seem like a dick for choosing my own happiness, but I mean, we're only human, right?
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't say that you're a dick for choosing your own happiness. I think it's kind of a dick move for other people to expect you to care about their happiness, and honestly, that kind of leads to codependency. Is what if it's done by the right people. I know because I actually suffer from codependency because of my mother and stepfather, um, and you know it really does ring true when you had said people saying that they don't like the new you or whatever, because that's exactly what one of my friends, I had to say my closest friend that I used to have, that's what he said. He says, I don't like the new Gleason. I like the old Gleason. And basically, what that said to me was, I like the Gleason that I could walk all over, make fun of, laugh at, and basically shit on. That's the Gleason I like. I don't like this Gleason that stands up for himself and gets angry when I say stupid shit. No, I don't like that Gleason.
Yeah. That reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. Same way. And when I broke up with her, because I mean, first of all, we were breaking up like every other week, so that's not a good sign. So I decided that hey, this obviously is not working. Uh, and she didn't get it. Don't think she. I still don't think she gets it, no matter how many times I try. So I just kind of gave up.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's kind of what I had to do with my friends because, it's like I tried to force, being their friends and trying to ignore it, but it got to the point where, like at first I was like, okay, just ignore it, John, just ignore it. But then at the end, I was like, if I don't say something, my head is going to fucking explode. and so it was more, and this actually goes off of something else you said. You know, you shouldn't feel like a dick for choosing your own happiness because you can't be a good person to other people unless you're good with yourself,
Yeah.
basically. And if you're not happy with yourself, if you're not happy with the way that you are, you're not going to be a happy person towards other people. You're not going to I guess achieve that I guess level of tranquility with dealing with idiocy. Otherwise, it's just gonna build upon that anger that's already bubbling inside you. So I think personally that it's a good move for you to put your happiness first. Is as long as it doesn't go to the extremes. Of putting yourself first, putting your own happiness first and whatnot. It should be up there, but it should be like kind of done in moderation, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a point when other people can be very detrimental to you, and you shouldn't suffer because you feel obligated to somebody else.
Right. Absolutely. About that.
It's fine.
I'm just gonna edit that part out later. All right. Uh, let's see. What else did I have? I did not have any other questions I wanted to ask you, but is there anything you wanted to mention or plug?
Yeah. Well, anybody watching this can obviously find me on Facebook. Just go there, Godless Engineer or Godless Engineering. You'll find a page and you'll find a group. Go ahead and join our group. Fill it out, see if you like it. It's not for everybody because we tried. It's kind of heavily moderated, and we try to just provide a safe space for everybody. And so that's our ultimate goal with that. But if you do join, there's a lot of subgroups that offer a variety of different topics that you can engage other people in. So I would suggest you go there, check that out. I'm also on YouTube, of course. You can check me out there, just Godless Engineer, and check out these videos that I'm doing. I've got a few videos coming up this week that are more on the Minute in Atheism series, and then of course, I've got live interviews on secular TV. Go to secular TV, find them. I'm doing one this Friday. It's usually every Friday, no matter what so far. I do have an interview with Steve Shives that'll be posted on my channel soon. And so be sure to watch my channel for that. I'm on Twitter, of course, Godless Engineer, Instagram, and I'm on Vine. I don't have a custom URL yet, but I'm working on that. But you can look me up, Godless Engineer. And I think that's just about it. The rest of this month, I'm pretty much working on building up to the conferences next month.
All right, that sounds great. You said you have an interview, or you're going to be posting an interview this week? You said his name was Steve Chimes.
Steve Shives.
Shives. All right. What does he do?
Well, he's got a fairly large channel here on YouTube.
Does he really?
It's Steve Likes to Curse with the number 2.
Right.
That's his username. But if you just search Steve Shives, you'll come up in there. He's fairly regular poster. He's a really good guy to follow and watch. If you disagree with some things he has to say, don't just blatantly go and unsubscribe just because you disagree with one thing. You should always have people that you don't necessarily always agree on, or even agree on at all, that you're subscribed to. It always generates good conversation. You don't ever want to be in an echo chamber of your own thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually in a I don't know if I want to call it debate, maybe a flame war of sorts. One of those Facebook debates,
Yeah.
The one where you can just grab your popcorn and just watch it go. So I was talking to a friend of mine about the existence of God, and she claimed that prayer proves God, and I give her the studies that we've done that show no effect by prayer, and I tell her that it's much more likely and much more plausible that purely naturalistic things would have caused the same result. Like, if you really wanted something and went out and tried your best to obtain that thing, you would come out with that result probably. Like, it's much more likely that you and the people around you had to do with the things you prayed for coming true. And I mean, I think she started to get it at some point, because she then posted a status like, is God real or not? One of those, what do you guys think? And that led up into a big one, a big conversation there. Someone claiming that the Bible is true, and saying that they know it because they know it, pretty much, because it says so. And there was one of the arguments used to defend the Bible was that the Bible is true because we still teach it in schools, so it obviously like in private schools, so it obviously has some truth to it. And I'm like, well, by that logic, Islam is also true, and so is Hinduism. Every religion that still exists today is true simultaneously. So after I explained that,
Legit.
she conceded that point. She was like, "Yeah, can't really say much about that." But one of my favorite ones in this conversation, uh, one of her friends used Pascal's wager, and I described that it's not an argument for the existence of God; it's an argument for the belief in the existence of God. That I mentioned that it's a false dichotomy, and then I asked her, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong about Zeus or Thor or Vishnu? What if you're wrong about the great Juju in the sky? Uh, and even
Well,
go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, that's pretty spot on right there. Because the thing with Pascal's wager is that, it's equal probable that no God exists, or the Christian God exists, or the Islamic God exists, or blah 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 blah. So, like, if you take every single God in existence along with the default value of no God, I mean, they all have equal probability of existing because we can't verify whether or not they do exist or not.
Exactly.
So it's really stupid for somebody to be like, well, it's better to believe in God. It's like, how do you know? You could be worshiping Christ when you get up there. Thor's going to shove a big foot up there.
Gonna shove his hammer right up there.
Prepare for morning
Uh, uh, it was this entire conversation was ridiculous. Like I'm looking at it like on my phone, and I still like get a little angry sometimes because I was working before before I came back here and called you, and like my Wi-Fi was really spotty, so uh, sometimes I would get the reply right away, and sometimes I get half an hour later. And the entire time, like, there's this war going on in my brain. Like, oh my god, what other stupid things can this person say? I was, it's like sometimes I don't know why I do this to myself, but then I remember that arguing against people like this is like it's not for me and it's not for them. It's for the people on the fence. It's for all the people listening, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's even Bill Nye in his Nye Ham debate. I believe at the very beginning that's what he said in his introductory speech about the entire debate is that it's not between really him and him, and it's for the and just to kind of relate to you on discussing stuff with stupid people, those friends that I was talking about before, we were having this really bad argument on Facebook one time, and it was over homosexuality. And of course, me being in the South, they're all going to be dumbasses about it. But this one guy was like, "Well, homosexuality is causing bad things for the United States," and I'm like, "Whoa, where is this coming from?" And he's like, and I was like, "I'd like to see the information on that." And so what he did was he posted one chart that shows like some kind of like increase of crime rates or something like that, and then he also posted a link to a chart that showed an increase in what was it? It's like non-traditional families, I think is what it said. And so he posted those two, and I'm like, that doesn't mean dick.
Also, I just want to point out that the crime rate is actually going down. so whatever information he used was bad information because that's not even true.
Well, I'm fairly certain that it was probably from the Blaze or that other guy's conspiracy nut website. I can't remember. It's like Jones Chris.
Oh! I know who you're talking about. Oh, I totally forgot his name though. I know exactly who you're talking. Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
His website. Yeah. He probably pulled it from someplace like that. Because I mean, if you want data to say a certain thing, I'm sure you can find it out there. But he listed those two things. I'm like, that doesn't mean dick. I mean, honestly, those things don't show any kind of correlation between the two. And this was me before I even knew the causation doesn't mean, or correlation doesn't mean causation, or
Right.
any of that, right? And I was just like, that doesn't mean anything, and it like infuriated me so bad. Like my wife would get mad at me whenever I got in these arguments because I would just be a total asshole about it. And I'm like, well, if they're gonna be like this, then I'm gonna be an asshole. It was my thought process. But I mean, just to kind of relate to then to now, I have more of a comedic view on it. Like if somebody says something really stupid or whatnot, I just have to sit back and laugh about it and I guess pity them a little bit for being so goddamn stupid. But I just have to sit back and laugh at this point.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I guess I've not reached that point yet. Because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about me. I just.
Well, what I'll say is this. I don't know if you remember from the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, but one of the things that would always piss Bud off was when Bugs Bunny would kiss him on the cheek. That would always piss him off.
Yeah.
So, if somebody comes at you with vitriol or whatnot and you can laugh it off, then that's just like Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd on the cheek. You're just going to piss them off more by laughing at them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I kind of do that in like outside of talking to religious people. Like if like how do I describe this? Sarcasm is my first language. It's not my second. It's definitely my first. I try to be as much of an asshole as I can to my friends because that's how I show that I care. And I'm an asshole in like the sarcastic sense. Like I won't like fuck them over, but I'll just kind of be a dick, but not really do anything really that bad. Just kind of talk shit, but that's okay because they understand that just shows I care. So I guess in a way, if I'm being completely serious with someone and not joking around, that or not even like giving them shit or talking them down in any way, it just means that I don't like them. If I'm being respectful, it means I don't like you, pretty much. That is how my brain works.
Well, with friends that I have, if if they joke with me like that or whatnot, I generally do take it like they would have to have a pretty serious demeanor about them in order for me to take them seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you actually have to like clarify that you're being serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when it comes to religious people, I always have that need to argue because, I know that you and I share the same feeling in that we actually care if our beliefs are true or not. Like, so many people don't care. They just want to believe what they want to believe because they want to believe. I think that's a very dishonest way of looking at the world, and I think that if we don't teach, or if we don't do what we can to have a generation of scientifically literate children, we will start to regress as a society.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because, I mean, you can even see it now as far as regressing as a society. I mean, you have a substantial number of people in the United States now that are looking to, revert us back to pre-civil rights movement era stuff. Ridiculous. I mean, they're wanting to send us back to the pre-50s, time where, you can freely discriminate based on any fucking thing that you want to. I know there was a story that I started reading before I left work today that basically was saying that some law they're looking to pass, I think it's in Georgia, would allow domestic abuse or domestic violence. If you wholly believe, if it's part of your deeply held religious beliefs. Which it is actually in the Christian religion. I mean, it says in there that you should not don't spare the rod, spoil the
and you should silence any woman that's speaking over you too. That's in there somewhere.
Oh, Oh yeah, yeah, and if you can break the jaw in the process, that's even better because then she can't talk anymore.
Yay!
Um, but yeah, so you have all these people that are really looking to just move us back so far into what they consider traditional, and think that it's fucking 1776. And it's just not. We shouldn't want to be exactly like 1776. We shouldn't want to be like 300 years in the past.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
shouldn't want to be there. We should want to be better. But these people are wanting to hold us back.
Yeah, it's that kind of reminds me of when a theist says something like, "Oh, you scientists always, change your mind or whatever. You can't stick to something." That really reminds me of that because it's like, yeah, because we gather new evidence and we change our ways of thinking because we figure out something is wrong or something else is good. We, update our beliefs as new evidence comes in. That's why we got rid of slavery. That's why, the suffrage movement happened. Uh, we realized that those things were bad, so we got rid of them. Uh, and people that want to regress, 300 years ago, are kind of in the same sense like that. They're like, oh, we have these values, we have to stick to them. Otherwise, you're just like an atheist or something.
Yeah. And I find it really hilarious whenever a Christian like bashes science for like updating the theories and updating everything because you know Christians haven't remained the same. Just like you said, women's suffrage movement, slavery, and all that, they have changed their minds on all that. And it's not because they found some kind of new text somewhere that's added to it that clarifies it. Like, oh, no, just kidding. Don't really beat your slaves. In fact, don't have fucking slaves at all. Be a decent fucking person and don't own other people.
Yeah.
It's not like we found a new verse that said that. No, they updated their understanding of the religious text, or as I more accurately like to think of it, is they changed with society. Society always changes before religion changes. Society always forces religion to change. If you think about the three big movements past that have changed, in the religious area, being slavery, women's suffrage, and the LGBT rights. I mean, it's not like some religious people were leading the fucking charge on it, right?
Right.
No, it wasn't religious people. It was the goddamn society around them that didn't buy into the bullshit wholeheartedly, that led the charge, that made the change, and then religion had to change with it. Otherwise, it wasn't going to survive. And religion knows this. Religion as if you want to think of religion as an organism, like just the entire concept, it had to evolve in order for it to remain alive. And that is just about the most ironic way that I can put that.
Yeah, like it's kind of like the social Darwinism of religion, to be more specific. Up until a few months ago, I never really knew what social Darwinism was, honestly. Like, I knew it was a term that existed, but I never really looked into it. And then a friend mentioned it, and I was like, oh, wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to say that Hitler was using evolution as a reason to kill the Jews, but that really wasn't it. I mean, anti-Semitism was really rampant in Europe even way before that. So, he did use some kind of weird application of social Darwinism, I think, to say that the Jews should be killed or whatnot, and so that's what he was using. But that was really just pseudoscience in order to get the people to be more compliant with committing genocide. And so that's what that's what the religious people love to do, or either way, whatever religion it is. And so they love to twist words. They love to twist how things are said and definitions.
Yeah, it's kind of a maybe there will be one day when the only or like the most popular religion would be like Buddhism or something that other people or people now would say, "Oh, that's great." But in the future, we would have evolved as a society so much that a even a peaceful religion like Buddhism would seem awful. Like I can't think of a case like that, but in the future it's possible. And
Yeah, I would agree. And I think any belief that doesn't comport, and they do this very subtly, and it's kind of like a bait and switch. Any time that they talk with reality, can be potentially harmful. And I think that a lot more people need to keep that in mind because, people have this mindset of, well, if I don't perceive this particular belief as being harmful, then it's not harmful. And so even with atheists, you get this. And it's really kind of sad because that means that they have suspended their skepticism in favor of complacency. And like for instance, I did an interview a while back with this girl, Albany Rose, that left the New Age movement, and she actually pointed out a number of things that were used to abuse people within the New Age movement. And when I criticized it on Facebook, people lashed out at me, being like, "Oh, she's not hurting anybody." It's like, New Age beliefs are dumb. Whoa, and they're used to hurt people. There's verifiable evidence that they hurt people. Why would you want them to leave themselves open to being hurt like that? And it just amazes me what people will do just so that they don't have to confront anybody.
right. Uh, you know, I I had I had something just now.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, yep. So while I think of that and write it down when I remember it, um, actually, you know what? We're kind of running low on time. What, 47 minutes right now? Uh, I mean, I don't really have any other questions. Anything else I really wanted to address? Is there anything else you wanted to go over?
No, just if you're in the Milwaukee area or even close to outside it, come on April 25th to the Mythinformation Conference. I'll be there. Lawrence will be there. And, we'll just have a great time. If you are there, you can get on camera with me and you can be live to YouTube to, however many people are watching at that point in time.
Yeah, that actually kind of does. That reminds me of one last thing. I think we are going to have one guy who if it's okay with you, going to be quote unquote co-hosting the live stream because he
Okay.
he really had like nothing else to do when it came to this event, so he was like, I want to do something. So we were like, yeah, we'll ask Godless if that's okay. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad I have an answer for that, so I could probably tell him. He'll be very happy.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I guess I always kind of expect to do things by myself. But I think that's more about where I live and how many people I actually have around me that I can count on.
Right.
So yeah, it's more than happy to have him as a co-host or whatnot. It'll be a lot easier to fill the time.
Right. That usually tends to be an issue. So I would like to thank everybody for watching. So if you stuck through the whole video, you are a trooper. So thank you for watching, and hopefully we will catch you at the Myth Information Conference. Links is in the description below.